Today, we're taking a watch that has absolutely mastered the art of the comeback, and we're going to tear it down piece by piece to figure out what really makes a modern classic tick. So, let's just start with the big question, the one that so many brands are asking themselves. How do you dig into the archives, pull out a design that's, more than 60 years old, and make it feel totally fresh and exciting for right now, without losing all that original magic? It's a huge challenge, right? And the answer to that question? Well, for our money, it might just look exactly like this. Our case study today is the Longines Legend Diver in its new 39mm size, and let me tell you, it is a masterclass in how you balance that vintage soul with totally modern performance. All right, first up, to really get what makes this new version so great, we gotta go back. We need to trace the roots of this really iconic design. So the story kicks off way back in 1959 with the original Super Compressor-Diver, which was a very distinct, very cool watch for its time. Fast forward a few decades to 2007, and Longines brings it back with a really faithful reissue that watch fans went crazy for. Then, over the next 10 years, the collection grew, but the real magic moment, the one that got everyone talking, was in 2023 with this perfectly refined 39mm version. Okay, that history brings us right to the case, and honestly, this is where a lot of the magic happens. People call it the Goldilocks case, and for a very good reason. The size and the shape are just so critical to why this watch works for so many people. You see, the magic here isn't just one number, it's how they all work together. 39mm wide, that is the absolute sweet spot for today. Not too big, not too small. Then you've got the 47mm lug to lug, which just means it wears beautifully on almost any wrist. And get this, it's only 12.7mm thick. For a diver with 300 meters of water resistance, that's seriously slim. And of course, you cannot talk about this case and not talk about its most famous feature, right? Those two crowns. It might look a little quirky, but the system is just genius in its simplicity. The one at 2 o'clock, that's for turning the internal bezel to time your dive. The one at 4 o'clock, that's for everything else, winding the watch, setting the time, just like any other watch you've used. Simple. All right, we've covered the case. Now let's talk about the face of the watch. Because the dial, well, that's where this thing really gets so much of its unique character. So yeah, you've got 8 different colors to choose from, but man, this new white dial version is really something else. It's just so incredibly clean, so confident. The contrast makes it super easy to read, but it's the little details that really make it special. So let's zoom in a bit. It all starts with that thick, domed sapphire crystal, which gives it that perfect vintage vibe, Then you've got the sloping internal bezel. That's not just for timing, it creates this incredible sense of depth. The layout itself is super clean. Logo up top, automatic script down below. But the star of the show for me, it has to be those numerals and markers. They're slightly raised and lacquered in this glossy black, and the way they pop against that white is just fantastic. So yeah, it's obviously gorgeous, but this watch is not just a pretty face. We have to look under the hood at the engine that's driving all of this. So inside the Legend Diver is a COSC-certified chronometer. What on earth does that mean? Well, think of it like an official, independent report card for a watch movement. A Swiss agency tests it like crazy and certifies that it's super, super precise. We're talking guaranteed accuracy to within just a handful of seconds per day. It's a big deal, a real mark of quality. And the movement itself, the caliber L888.6, is a modern powerhouse. Check this out, a 72-hour power reserve. That means you can take this thing off on a Friday night, forget about it all weekend, and it's still ticking away perfectly on Monday morning. No problem. Plus, it's got a silicone balance spring, which all you need to know is that it makes it super tough against magnetism and shocks, basically a watch's worst enemies. It has all the performance you demand from a top-tier modern watch. And this brings us to the grand finale, and maybe the most important point of all, the value. With all this history, all this tech, how does the Legend Diver actually stack up in a very, very crowded market? So let's just talk numbers. On a bracelet, the Legend Diver comes in at $3,550. Now compare that to two of its biggest Swiss rivals, the Tag Heuer Aqua Racer, $4,250.
The Tudor Black Bay 58, another massive fan favorite, $4,725. I mean, that is not a small difference. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars here.
And that price gap leads you directly to this kind of conclusion. One review just hit the nail on the head, saying it's all about just how much watch you are getting for the money. It's not that the watch is cheap, it's about the absolutely incredible amount of watch, the history, the tech, the finishing that you get for what you pay. So when you put it all together, the checklist is it's incredibly compelling. You've got the perfect Goldilocks size. You have a unique design with real, authentic history. You have fantastic finishing. You have a modern, high-spec, COSC-certified movement. And you get it all at a price that makes its main rivals look, well, really expensive. For anyone who loves this kind of watch, it becomes a total no-brainer. Which brings us right back to where we started. A historic design, updated with perfect modern proportions, powered by a high-tech engine, and all offered at an incredible value. So is this the perfect formula for a modern classic? You know, looking at all the evidence, it's pretty tough to argue against it. Thanks for joining me on this one.